Welcome back, friends. Great to have you here. And today we're going to do a little bit of yoga using a wall. So you might notice my camera's a little off center. That's why, just so you can see the wall a little better as we use it. So hopefully this is something that you can do anywhere and everywhere. You could do it at home, on your yoga mat, in your living room. You could do it in your office, next to a wall, or even your desk, or even outside alongside your car if you're waiting around for something. So feel free to join in. Don't need anything special other than a wall or something to hold on to. And otherwise, we will go ahead and get started. So go ahead and bring both feet flat to the floor or the mat, whatever you might be standing on. And just letting those arms hang along those sides. Let's take a few moments here and just sway side to side, starting to bring some movement into the spine and into those hips. But as we do so, let's try to keep awareness on those feet, keeping them both grounded and connected to the ground beneath you. But also with that awareness there, it helps us keep that focus right here and right now as we feel those feet connected to the floor. Just a couple more times each side. Those arms can just sway. Maybe they come out to the sides, or maybe you touch the opposite leg as you go to one side and then the other. And we're going to keep those toes and the balls of the feet grounded, but we're going to begin to lift the opposite heel. So maybe as you go to your left, you lift the right heel. As you sway to the right, you lift the left heel. Just taking those twists a little bit deeper. And maybe try turning that gaze with those shoulders. Just side to side, 3 more times, each direction. Keeping those toes connected to the ground and slowly unwinding as you make your way back to center. Now as we make our way over to the wall, go ahead and turn so your back is facing the wall, and you can step a little bit away from the wall. So you can really just rest. We're not going to do a wall sit, don't worry. But you can just rest that back against the wall here, the feet still firmly connected with the ground beneath you. Maybe those hands rest on the legs, or the hands can come to the wall as well, wherever you feel more comfortable. And for a moment, you can have eyes open or closed. But just try to notice where you can feel the wall behind you, where it's connected to the body. Maybe the back of the head, maybe you feel the back of those shoulder blades, or the lower back connected to the wall. Taking a moment to just feel those connections. Maybe start to notice how you're breathing. Maybe you shift that focus back and forth from your connection to the wall and your breath. And then as you're ready, you can stay here as long as you'd like, but when you're ready, go ahead and step or stand all the way back up. Okay, we're going to bring these hands behind the body. So just those fingertips can come to the wall here, or the palms, either way. And let's take a big shoulder roll back and down. Actually, let's take a couple shoulders here as we're still just kind of warming up through the body. So a couple shoulder rolls. You might feel those fingertips move up and down the wall as we do so. Maybe one shoulder feels a little different than the other today. And then just one more big shoulder roll down the back. And as we do so, let's keep those hands connected to the wall. See if we can press the palms, or maybe even the elbows might find the wall here. And then as you breathe in, we're slowly going to turn that gaze upwards. It doesn't have to be all the way up. We don't want to crank through the back of the neck, but maybe towards that corner where the wall and the ceiling meet. So just slightly upwards. And then on the exhale, see if we can walk those fingertips down the wall a little bit further. The arms might straighten out a little bit. They might not, and that's okay too. And the space in between those hands totally doesn't matter. We just want to begin to open through the front of those shoulders, using that wall or that surface behind you, whatever you might be using here. Just to take it a little deeper, or just to keep that awareness in the body here as we feel those fingertips connected. One more breath here as we inhale. Try to lift the heart up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, maybe those fingers walk down just a tiny bit further. And then go ahead and release those hands. We can shake out those arms. Okay, so we're gonna turn, so one side is alongside the wall here, maybe about a foot away from the wall. So I've got my right side close to the wall here. You might be on the opposite side. So whichever side is closest to the wall, we're gonna keep that hand connected to the outside of that leg. So just fingertips pointing down towards the floor. And then on our next inhale, let's lift that opposite arm, so the further arm that's away, lifting it up towards the ceiling. We're gonna inhale, lifting up as high as we can through those fingertips, and then exhale, gently glide that other hand down the leg, reaching down towards the floor. Now we're gonna move with our breath a little bit here. So each inhale, we're gonna lift a little bit higher. Each exhale, try to reach down towards the floor. Now you might start to find a side bend, and maybe you reach that top hand up and over until the fingertips once again find the wall. Again, you can move closer to the wall if you'd like, or maybe a little further away if you want to take it a little deeper. But similar thing here, 3 more breaths. As you breathe in, see if you can walk the fingertips up the wall. And then on the breath out, see if you can glide those other fingertips down the leg. Inhaling as we lift. Exhaling as we soften. One more full breath. And then go ahead and slowly release both arms back down. Maybe roll out those shoulders a few more times. Shake out those legs. And then go ahead and just turn around so we can try the other side. So maybe about a foot or so away from the wall, whatever space worked for you on the other side. Let's feel or find that connection with that lower hand and the leg. And then we'll inhale, the opposite arm up towards the ceiling. And then just slowly moving with that breath. Inhaling as we reach up, exhaling as we reach down. Inhaling up a little further, maybe we start to add that side bend as we reach over till we find the wall. And exhaling, the hand gently lowers down towards the floor. Inhale, maybe those fingertips walk a little higher up the wall. Exhaling, keeping that connection with the bottom hand and the leg. One more full breath here. My stomach's starting to growl. Hopefully you can't hear that. And exhaling as we soften. Go ahead and slowly make your way back to center, lowering both arms down towards the floor. Maybe we roll out those shoulders, shake out the arms, moving around a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna turn so we are facing the wall. Bring in those hands to the wall here first. We're going to step close enough until those arms can be extended, but then our hips, our legs are coming straight down from those shoulders. So just like a 90-degree angle here underneath those armpits. Now as we breathe in, first let's try to create a little space. So pretending like those hands were on your mat like we normally do. We want big starfish hands, hands shoulder width apart. Grounding down into those fingertips, and see if we can lift the center of the palms away from the wall. I almost said the floor. Okay, so as we inhale, we're gonna work into those shoulders. We wanna try to press the wall away from us with those hands. And as we exhale, just kind of relax those shoulders. Maybe we sink into those shoulder blades a little bit. And then inhale, re-engage through those arms. Try to press the wall away from the body with those hands. You might start to feel the core engage as well. And then exhale, relaxing into those shoulders. 2 more as we inhale, engaging the arms, pressing into those fingertips. Exhaling as we soften. And just 1 more time. Inhale nice and strong, lifting the crown of the head. And exhaling, go ahead and soften back down. Okay, we're gonna walk these feet back. Maybe lowering those hands. We're gonna come into a little modified downward dog. It's a great stretch for that lower back here, especially to use the wall and the floor. So, adjusting as needed. Maybe as you look down at those feet, the feet can be about hip width apart or closer. Hands still about shoulder width apart. And again, we want this 90-degree angle, but this time the angle is gonna come at the hip crease. Okay, so as we pause here, lots of us tend to sink down into those shoulders and get a little hyperextension, and sometimes that's okay, and it feels good for a moment. But today, let's try to actively continue to press the wall away from us. With those hands, actively reaching back through those hips so we can find as much length as we can through the arms, through the side body, and then also through the back of those legs. Just take a moment to find that breath. And then maybe we try bending our right knee, just lifting that right heel off the floor, noticing that left hip, where it tends to go, maybe out to the side, or maybe we try to reach that left hip back a little further. Switching those legs when you're ready, bending the left knee, lifting the left heel. Right heel can ground down into the floor as we lift the right hip up and back. Maybe try one more time each side. And then relaxing both heels towards the floor. As we inhale, we're just going to shift our weight forward, just like you were going to come into a plank. Now this might be a little too much flexion on those wrists, so if it is, go ahead and walk those hands up further up the wall. And we're just going to inhale, try to lift the heart up towards the ceiling, slightly turning the gaze up. And then exhaling, walking those hands back as we reach those hips back, downward dog. So almost like a little modified vinyasa, just without that little push-up. So we'll inhale, bringing the heart forward. You can walk those hands up if you need to a little bit. Try to lift through the heart. The chest is reaching forward, the hips are reaching forward, and see if we can draw those shoulder blades back. And then exhale, go ahead and walk those hands back down. Just one more time through that little flow. Inhaling as those hands walk up. Lifting up through the heart, up through the gaze. Shoulders drop back and down. And then exhaling, go ahead and come back to that little downward dog, and then we'll slowly walk those feet in. And you can make a few circles with those wrists, or maybe bring the back of the hands towards or to one another. And you can circle them out that way, just stretching the opposite side of those wrists. Awesome. All right, this time we're going to face away from that wall. Let's step our left foot to the front, and our right foot is going to come to the back until the back of our heel can connect with the wall or whatever we're using once again. So just that back heel is connected. That right foot can be turned out to the side a little bit, and the left toes, the left foot pointing straight ahead. Go ahead and bring those hands to our hips. Just turning our shoulders, our hips facing away from the wall. Nice deep breath in as we lift tall, and on our breath out, we're slowly just going to hinge. Doesn't have to be very far, just hinging at the hips. And then inhale, maybe engaging the core to help lift that torso back up. So moving with that breath a few times in and out here, working our way into pyramid. Once again, just adding that element of the connection with the wall. Sometimes it can just bring a whole different perspective to these movements that we usually do without the wall. So see if we can keep that awareness, not only in the stretch that we might be feeling through the back of that leg, but also keeping that connection between the heel and the wall, or the foot and the floor. Maybe that next time you hinge forward, maybe you pause there. Pausing whenever you start to feel a little stretch through the back of that leg, and then maybe you release those hands to the top of the leg or to the floor. If it's uncomfortable to keep this front leg straight, you can always step it back a little bit so those feet are a little closer together. And we're going to pause here. Let's pause for 5 full breaths. As we do so, feel free to drop the chin a little closer to the chest. Maybe we try to draw that left hip back as the right hip reaches forward a little bit more. And whenever you feel ready, go ahead and bend through that front knee to slowly make your way up to standing. We'll step forward, just bringing both feet together once again. Maybe those hands come to our heart center. Let's take a nice inhale through the nose, lifting the shoulders up. Long exhale out through the mouth as we relax those shoulders. And then let's step our left foot to the back once again until we feel the wall behind that left heel. Adjusting that right foot forward or back as needed. Maybe we'll bring those hands to the hips just to kind of help turn those hips forward. And those fingertips can be on the front of those hips, so we can really feel that movement through that hip crease as we exhale and hinge at those hips. Maybe we inhale, putting a little pressure into those thumbs to help us lift all the way back up. And then exhale, a little pressure into those fingertips on the front of those hips. Inhaling as we lift. Just going nice and slow. You can pause at any point. Or maybe we adjust those legs. Maybe you go a little deeper with each breath out, or maybe we stay tall. Just listening to the body, what it might need today. And maybe we pause on the next time we lower down, or you can continue to move if you'd rather. If we pause, just softening through the tops of those shoulders. They don't have to do anything here other than just be. Maybe we relax through the face, through the jaw, through the eyes. Noticing what you might feel here in this posture. Maybe you feel a stretch, maybe you feel a tightening, maybe you feel an engagement or some strengthening going on through the core, through the legs. About 2 more breaths. Maybe we try to draw that right hip back a little further as the left hip reaches forward. And then as you're ready, slowly making your way up to standing. You can bend that front knee as needed. So we come all the way up. Go ahead and step forward as we bring those feet together. And once again, deep breath in through the nose. Long breath out through the mouth. All right, we've got one more for you. This is my favorite one. So we're gonna find a little balance, but it's also a little stretch for the leg, a little hip opener and shoulder opener. So we're gonna be facing the wall this time. Let's start on our right leg. So finding that base first as we lift those right toes, maybe create some space in between each one of those toes, and then gently grounding down through the toes, through the center of the heel. Starting to engage through that right leg as we lift up through the knee, engaging through that core. And maybe we begin by just stepping this left foot to the back. Now, at any point you can reach forward for that wall or out to the side, wherever the wall is around you. Otherwise, feel free to lift that left foot, bringing it towards the body. Maybe that left hand reaches back, bringing your hand to the inside of that foot. Taking a moment to actively reach that left knee down towards the floor as we draw the heel in a little closer to the body. Maybe we pause here in this little stretch for the top of that leg, for that thigh. Or if you want to take it a little further, you can inhale. We're going to reach this right hand for the wall. As we exhale, maybe you start to press your foot into the hand as you draw the foot away from the body. And this hand that's on the wall, we can start to walk those fingertips up the wall as far as we can. And again, the wall might stop or pause for you a little less than you want to be in, or a little deeper. So feel free to bring those feet back and adjust your space between your body and the wall. Or maybe you explore by lifting the hand up, or maybe walking it down the wall. Maybe you try hovering it away from the wall. And just see if we can hold for 3 more breaths. Coming in and out of it as much as needed. Continuing to actively draw that foot up and back away from the body. Then as you feel ready, slowly standing back up, releasing the hand, releasing that foot. Maybe move or roll out through that right ankle a little bit. And then we can give the other side a try. So we'll bring left foot to the floor again, grounding down into each one of those toes and into the center of that heel, engaging through that left leg as we draw up through the knee, strong through the leg so we're not locking the knee out. Drawing in and upwards through that core. And then when you feel ready, maybe you step that right foot to the back. You can always pause here. You can lift that right foot, or you can reach back for the inside of that right foot and pause. Maybe that left hand reaches for the wall, directly out in front of you, or maybe up slightly above that shoulder. And as we inhale, we lift tall through the crown of the head. On the exhale, gently pressing the foot into the hand as it draws back and up away from the body. Maybe use that breath to find some little adjustments or little movements through that left arm. Modifying however is needed. Bringing awareness back to that breath. 2 more breaths here. You guys are doing awesome. And then as you feel ready, go ahead and lower or stand all the way back up. We'll lower that foot back down to the floor. Maybe roll out that standing ankle. You can shake out those arms. Maybe flick out those fingertips. And then once again, just like we began with, let's bring our back to the wall. Space between your feet and the wall is completely up to you. But maybe this time, let's bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Just drawing those shoulders back. You might feel the back of those shoulder blades connected to the wall, or maybe the back of those hips. Noticing the ground underneath those feet. Feel free to close those eyes here, or just looking downwards at the floor. Taking these last few moments to just notice the breath. You might notice a slight rise in the chest, maybe a little expansion through the ribs, maybe some movement in the belly as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Sometimes just feeling that connection, whether it's with the body and the movement of the breath, or maybe that's connection with your body and the wall, or connection with your feet and the ground beneath you that you can feel anywhere and everywhere. Bringing that awareness to that physical connection can bring our minds back to the present. Staying here for as long as you would like, or maybe you were at home and you can lower down and take a brief Shavasana. But otherwise, I will leave you here. Thanks so much for joining in with me today. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Namaste.